You know that instant craving? The sun's blazing, you're parched, and you reach for that frosty bottle. Could be a Coca-Cola, a Fanta, a Sprite.
Yeah.
That first icy, sugary gulp. It hits the spot like nothing else. Right?
No, absolutely. That immediate refreshment is definitely part of the appeal. Big part of it.
But is it actually okay?
Well, that's the core question, isn't it? What our sources for this deep dive really dig into is whether that fleeting pleasure comes at a hidden cost to your health.
Exactly. Because we're taking a close look today at these surprisingly serious downsides of regularly reaching for these sugary drinks.
Right.
And honestly, the global scale of this it's shocking. A 2020 study found that roughly 3.3 million deaths worldwide each year are linked to overdoing it on these beverages.
3.3 million, wow.
Yeah, and the big culprits, type 2 diabetes and heart-related problems. I mean, 3.3 million, that's a staggering number.
It truly is. It highlights a massive worldwide health concern.
And there's more from that study, right?
Yeah, that same 2020 data connected sugary drink consumption to around 2.2 million new cases of diabetes.
New cases.
And 1.2 million new cases of heart disease annually.
Every single year.
Every year. These aren't just abstract figures. They represent a huge, huge burden on global health.
And, it's made even more complicated by the constant stream of vibrant, happy advertisements.
Oh, definitely.
You see celebrities you admire flashing their smiles, taking a sip, painting this picture of fun and energy. It's easy to see why people are drawn in.
That's the very point our sources emphasize, though. These endorsements, however persuasive they seem, they're driven by profit, purely profit.
So the celebs get paid.
Exactly.
Oh.
The financial incentives for these public figures to promote these drinks, well, they far outweigh any genuine consideration for your well-being. So it's crucial to be aware of that underlying motivation. Don't fall for the trap.
Okay, so today we're on a mission, and you're with us, to really understand how these seemingly harmless drinks we grab for thirst can actually have such a negative impact on our health.
Let's do it.
Let's dive into our first point, which the source describes as an acidic poison. That sounds pretty strong.
It's a striking term, yeah, but it draws attention to a critical aspect. These drinks contain significant levels of acids, specifically phosphoric acid and citric acid.
Okay, acids, like lemon juice acid.
Well, yes, but also, what's interesting, maybe a bit alarming, is that these types of acids are also found in much stronger cleaning agents, even toilet cleaners, as the source rather pointedly mentions.
Whoa, okay, toilet cleaner acid. That definitely gives you pause, even if the concentrations are obviously very, very different.
Of course, the concentration is key,
I bet.
but it highlights the corrosive nature.
So what happens over time then, when we're regularly exposing our teeth and bodies to these acids, even at lower concentrations?
Well, the long-term effects can be quite detrimental. A very direct consequence is tooth decay, the erosion of tooth enamel.
Right, makes sense.
But it goes beyond your mouth. Regular consumption can also contribute to acid reflux, that uncomfortable heartburn, and potentially even a weakening of bone density over time.
Weakening bones. How?
The thinking is that phosphoric acid, in particular, might interfere with calcium absorption, so it's a cumulative effect.
Definitely not the refreshing image they portray in the ads, is it?
Not at all.
All right, let's look at point number 2. Sugar overload and the web of obesity. When you see the actual sugar content, it really clicks.
Absolutely. This is often the headline issue, isn't it? A typical 600 milliliter bottle of some popular sugary drinks can pack a shocking 82.8 grams of sugar.
82.8 grams in one bottle.
In one standard bottle, yeah.
Okay, put that in context for us. How much should we be having?
Well, the recommended daily intake is much, much lower. For men, it's around 36 grams maximum.
36.
And for women, only about 25 grams.
25, so just one bottle.
Puts you way over the limit, sometimes more than double or triple the daily recommendation.
That's unbelievable. It's like your entire daily allowance and then some in one go.
Mm.
So what kind of ripple effects does this constant sugar rush have in our bodies?
Oh, the consequences are significant and far-reaching. We know that high sugar intake is a major factor in the development of type 2 diabetes,
Yep.
heart disease, and of course, obesity. That's the obvious link.
Right, the web of obesity, they call it.
Exactly. But our source also touches on some less obvious connections, like the acceleration of skin aging.
Really, sugar makes your skin age faster.
Apparently so. It seems to affect collagen, so it's impacting more than just your internal organs.
That's a connection I hadn't really considered. Now, okay, what about the zero-calorie options? Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, those kinds of drinks. Surely they're a healthier swap people think they are.
It's understandable why people turn to them, definitely. You avoid the sugar calories. But our sources raise concerns about the artificial sweeteners they use instead.
Okay, what kind of concerns?
While they might not cause the same immediate sugar spike, some studies have linked these artificial sweeteners, things like aspartame, sucralose, to potentially increased risks of certain cancers, potential neurological issues, and even heart disease in some cases. It's an area of ongoing research, but the concerns are there.
So while they address one problem, the sugar,
Yeah.
they might introduce others.
That's the worry, yes. It's not necessarily a free pass.
So it feels like we're trying to find a loophole, but there might not really be one, eh?
It seems that way sometimes.
Let's move on to point 3 then. Cancerous culprits. Caramella and colors. It sounds pretty serious.
It does, and the focus here is on specific coloring agents used in these drinks. The source highlights the caramel coloring used in drinks like Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
That dark brown color.
Exactly, and it specifically mentions a compound formed during its manufacturing called 4-methylimidazole, often abbreviated as 4-MI.
4MI. Okay, what's the issue with that?
What's concerning is that some scientific bodies, like California's Environmental Health Agency, have classified 4-MI as a potential carcinogen.
A potential cancer-causing agent.
Yes, a substance that has the potential to cause cancer, based on animal studies. Now, the levels in soda are debated, but the classification itself is a red flag.
That's definitely not something you want to see associated with something you drink for refreshment.
No way.
Agreed. And what about other synthetic food coloring? The source mentions E110, also known as Sunset Yellow FCF. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, E110 or sunset yellow. That's a synthetic food coloring found in many different processed foods and drinks, including some sugary beverages, think orange soda sometimes.
Okay.
The concern highlighted by our source is its potential link to hyperactivity and attention-related issues in children. Some studies suggested this link.
Hyperactivity in kids from a food coloring.
That's the concern, yes. And it's interesting to see the different regulatory approaches around the world because of this. While the U.S. has stricter guidelines or requires warnings on this particular coloring in some cases, it continues to be used more freely in other countries, such as Nepal, according to our source.
So different rules for the same chemical depending on where you live.
Exactly. This really underscores how food safety standards can vary globally, which is something to be aware of.
It really makes you think about what's actually in our food and drinks, especially when different places have different rules. Okay, point 4 dives into the manipulation of multinational corporations. This sounds like we're getting into some deeper issues.
Indeed. This part looks beyond just the ingredients. The source points out the significant amount of money that large companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola invest in legal battles, lobbying, and PR.
To do what?
Essentially, to defend the safety image of their products, sometimes challenging regulations or scientific findings that might hurt sales.
Protecting the brand.
And what's particularly interesting here is the mention of a potentially harmful chemical reaction. It involves sodium benzoate.
Okay, what's that?
It's listed as E211 on labels. It's a common preservative used to prevent mold. The issue is when sodium benzoate is present in an acidic environment, like a soda, and also combined with vitamin C, ascorbic acid, which is sometimes added, under certain conditions, like exposure to heat or light, they can react to form small amounts of benzene.
Benzene. It's not bad.
Yes, benzene is a known carcinogen, a cancer-causing substance. The levels found in drinks were generally low, and manufacturers have taken steps, but the potential for it to form was and is a concern.
Wow, that's a pretty alarming chemical combination that could potentially be happening right in the bottle.
It highlights the complexity of these formulations.
And the source also reminds us again about that phosphoric acid, circling back to its ongoing damage to our tooth enamel.
That's right.
It's like these drinks are attacking our health on multiple fronts: the acid, the sugar, the colorings, potential chemical reactions.
It certainly paints a picture of multiple risk factors adding up.
Which brings us to point 5, and this one's tough. Fatal impact on children's health. This is particularly concerning given how these brightly colored, sweet drinks are often marketed towards kids.
Absolutely. Think about drinks like Fanta and Mirinda with their vibrant oranges and yellows. They're visually appealing to children.
Right, those are the ones that really catch a child's eye on the shelf. And the worry here goes back to that artificial coloring we mentioned, E110, doesn't it?
Yes, sunset yellow again. The source reiterates the potential link between E110 and those brain-related problems in children, like hyperactivity and difficulties with attention.
And you said some countries banned it.
Yes, it's worth noting again that several countries, particularly in Europe, have actually banned this ingredient or require strong warnings due to these concerns.
But not everywhere.
But not everywhere. As our source points out, it's still readily available and used in places like Nepal. This raises really important questions about protecting younger, more vulnerable populations.
It really does make you question why something deemed potentially unsafe for kids in one place is considered okay in another. It feels inconsistent.
It highlights the need for global awareness and maybe stronger standards universally, especially for products aimed at children.
Definitely. Okay, point 6 brings us back to those familiar faces we talked about earlier. Don't be fooled. The influence of celebrities.
This is a really important point to circle back to, because those ads are effective.
They are.
While it's tempting to associate these drinks with the glamorous, fun, exciting lifestyles we see in advertisements featuring famous athletes or movie stars, it's absolutely crucial to understand the underlying financial arrangement. It's a transaction.
Right.
For these celebrities, these endorsements are business deals. Their primary motivation is financial compensation.
Getting paid.
Not necessarily a genuine concern for your health or well-being. They might not even drink the stuff regularly themselves.
Right. Their job is to promote the product, sell the image, regardless of the potential health consequences for the person buying it.
Precisely.
So the key takeaway here is really not to let those appealing ads, those smiling faces, sway our actual decisions when it comes to our own health choices.
Exactly. Be critical of the messenger and the message. Which leads us nicely into point 7, the beginning of change, embracing water.
The positive alternative.
Yes. After laying out all the potential risks, it's essential to offer a clear, simple, and truly healthy alternative.
And it doesn't get much simpler or healthier than good old water, does it?
It really doesn't. The source rightly emphasizes that choosing water over sugary drinks is a fundamental step towards better health. Pure and simple.
And it offers some practical advice, too, on how to actually break that sugary drink habit, because it can be a habit, even an addiction for some.
It definitely can be. Making gradual changes is often the most effective approach. Don't try to go cold turkey overnight necessarily.
So what does it suggest?
The source suggests slowly increasing your water intake. Maybe start by replacing just one sugary drink a day with a glass of water.
Okay, that sounds manageable.
Yeah. Over time, this can significantly reduce your sugar and acid consumption and allow your taste buds to adjust as well. You might find you don't crave the intense sweetness as much.
That's true, your palate does change.
And the benefits of drinking water are just vast. It keeps your body hydrated, helps organs function properly, keeps skin healthy, all without any of the harmful side effects or the strain on your heart associated with sugary drinks.
Absolutely. It's about making that conscious shift towards a genuinely healthier way to quench your thirst. And that brings us to our final main point, number 8, a message. Prioritize health.
Yeah, this is really the wrap-up call to action for you listening. It's about taking all this information and making an informed decision.
Your own decision.
Your own decision, exactly. Not just for yourself, but potentially for your family as well, especially if you have kids. Our sources strongly encourage breaking free from the cycle, maybe even the addiction of sugary drink consumption.
And making water central.
And making water a central, fundamental part of a healthy lifestyle. True refreshment, genuine hydration, comes without all those hidden dangers we've been talking about.
So the key message really is be aware, understand what you're putting into your body, read the labels maybe.
Definitely read the labels.
And really prioritize your long-term health over that temporary sugary fix or that fizzy sensation.
Precisely. Don't let those enticing advertisements, those celebrity endorsements, those bright colors lead you astray from what's actually good for you. Your health is ultimately your responsibility. No one else's.
Well said. So let's leave you with this to think about. Make healthy water your go-to habit, the foundation of your hydration, not the fleeting temptation and potential harm of sugary drinks. Stay vigilant, stay healthy.
Choose wisely.